Hey everybody. Um, Been quite a while since I did a video. I have been actively posting in chronic pain on Reddit. Um, so the reason for this video is uh, I have an upcoming appointment with my pain management doctor, a regularly scheduled monthly appointment. Uh, the last visit I went to, I got very upset at him because he's trying to decrease my medication, and I'm on a very, very moderate amount right now, and it's just enough to kind of keep my pain not, not intolerable. And it wasn't so much that he thought maybe let's try decreasing it. I mean, I know how much I need, but I'm always willing to let a doctor do what he needs to do to be sure that I'm getting treatment that's necessary. But it was just when I started to talk about the group the chronic pain group that I participate in on Reddit, and when I started to talk about all the things that are going on, people being denied left and right, and the worst case scenarios where some patients are cut off and they commit suicide, he immediately had this entire denial thing. It was like, oh no, suicide's not the answer. That's not what people are doing. And it just kind of, my wife was with me, and she had this horrified look on her face, because it's like, wow, you were totally out of the loop. You're a doctor, you're doing your job, but you have no idea what your patients are going through. And you don't even know when there's news everywhere. You have to look for it. It's not on the front page of the Times, hey, X number of suicides because doctors are doing the wrong thing, but it's there. It's happening. And for a doctor to just be so in the dark about the nature of the illnesses that he's treating is horrifying. So we both got pretty angry at him. So I think that this kind of triggered him, because what happened was that when I scheduled my follow-up appointment, so about a few days ago, they told me they also need me to see a neuropsychologist before my regular appointment. And so I wasn't even sure what this was, and they said, oh, it's a one-time thing. They talk to you about your medication, and so I got it. I got the picture. They want to evaluate whether your medication is really necessary. They want to evaluate your habits of how you take medication, when you take medication, to see that you're not abusing it. But you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. But this condition began for me 6 years ago, and I've been through treatment after treatment after treatment. I've tried everything that's available other than medication in terms of fixing the problem. Every doctor said that they can't be fixed. It can be managed. So I've also tried other things that can manage the pain. Nothing worked. Nothing was some things were just not possible to do because of the nature of my condition. Without going into so much detail, I did a trial of a spinal cord stimulator, a trial of nerve ablation. All these things didn't work on me. They actually caused more problems, and that's not uncommon. It's not like people just say, oh, nothing else works for me, but I want medication. I tried everything. It took me a long time to come to terms with the idea that I may have to live with this forever, and it took a lot of therapy, and so basically I posted on the group about this, posted that I'm worried. This doctor is, okay. People said, oh, you just have to answer, and they do their thing. But as long as you're really, as long as they see that you're responsible, it won't be a problem. But the thing is, I think it's gonna be, and this is the reason, because I don't think that this is just I'm putting down my phone. I don't think that this is just to make sure you're using the medication responsibly. I mean, I think that that's what this is for in a real way. But right now, there's a trend. There's a pattern happening And if you want to find information on it, you can. You're not going to see it plastered over the news everywhere, because the news are all going with the party line, opiate crisis thing, and it's everywhere as the headline and as the buzzword. But if you are somebody who's involved in this social arena, then you know that the whole crisis is fabricated. So, I'm not going to bother trying to convince people who have no idea, who just they just read the news and that's it. Because if somebody wants to learn something, you're going to learn something. If you don't, then sticking information in your face is not going to do anything. So, suffice it to say, not one death is attributable to a person who is suffering from a condition and is prescribed pain medication by a doctor and takes that medication as prescribed. There's no opiate-related deaths attributed to somebody like that. Not one in the thousands and thousands and thousands. There isn't one. Because that's not how it happens. It happens when people decide to take medication as a recreational drug, and become addicted, or just don't know the consequences, whatever it may be. But of all these opiate-related deaths, the numbers are fabricated by associating. There was somebody who had, so they said opiate-related death. The guy was killed in a car accident. He was killed in a car crash. And he had heroin, fentanyl, and kratom in his system. And it was attributed to kratom because people are trying to schedule kratom to get it off the market, because, hey, it's unearned pain relief. You didn't pay your dues to the pharmaceutical companies. So, anyway, but that's a sidetrack. The point is that if you don't realize by now in America that politics can make information skewed and spin things for someone's benefit, and ignoring actual suffering, you're an idiot. It takes the biggest fool to not really understand that. So let's assume you understand that. Going forward, I have to face the question, what is this appointment for? Is it to evaluate that, person's addicted to the medication or taking it recreational? Okay, I'm not, so I have no problem with that, taking the test. In fact, I think that it's good to have some safeguards. But it's another thing when, instead of actually going after criminals who are selling the drugs illegally, and because that's difficult, some would say it's not really, unless a person does something to give themselves away, you can't catch somebody like that. That's the truth. So it's very hard, and it requires, I guess, the police and FBI or whoever does this. It requires a lot of investigation. It requires a lot of time, and patience, and possibly not getting results isn't good for political, advancement. So instead, the agenda is, well, take the medication away from everybody. So this way, if they can't get hold of it, they can't sell it. Nobody can buy it illegally and overdose. Now, of course, we know that's not true, because somebody who's determined to buy something illegally is going to get it. But that doesn't make for easy headlines. It doesn't make for easy, hey, I'm a politician, I accomplished this, or whatever. So I think that the agenda, for whatever reason, I don't really know why they want to do this, but I think that the agenda is to just get all of this out of practice. Just get, there won't be any opiate medication ever prescribed to anybody ever, other than, I guess, during surgery, where it's anesthetized, medication. But for a doctor to be so out of touch with actually what's going on, and just to kind of push you through the assembly line, as it were. You know, treat you for a little while. Okay, now you're dead weight. Go get this test. So they'll find a reason to say, okay, we can no longer see you. I mean, I don't even know that they need a reason. My previous doctor just told me out of the blue, we're just going to taper you off and no longer give you medication. There was no reason stated. There was no justification for it. There was no alternative treatment. It was basically just saying, just don't want to treat you anymore. So that was that. That's why I changed to the doctor I'm seeing now. So despite everybody, despite the fact that I got some responses, people comforting me, saying, you know, reassuring, you know, just you know, answer honestly whatever they ask you, you know, describe your situation, your condition, and what, you know, what it's like, etc. I'm pretty sure, I'm a cynic, but I also, I'm very observant, and I see patterns, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to use this it doesn't really matter what you say, how you answer questions, or whatever. It's a decision that somebody gets to make, and that decision is what becomes reality. It doesn't have to be subject to scrutiny. It doesn't have to be justified or proven. They just say, all right, you're not to be trusted or whatever, and therefore we have to take you off the medication. And I think that that's the end goal in every scenario. I really do. So everybody's telling me, okay, just take it easy, whatever, just tell the truth. I'm thinking, I mean, today is Saturday. I think on Monday when I have my appointment, I think that it's not going to matter. I think that they've already decided that they want to, okay, and I'm afraid. Obviously, my wife specifically, told me, this is fear because I'm in pain, and I've managed to kind of like get some stability in my life where I can actually like go through day by day without being in too much pain, and I can have some life that seems worth living. But the problem is that's not even part of the equation for the medical community, for the CDC, the DEA. It's the agenda is get rid of opiate medication, and whoever has to drop dead in the process, they don't care. They really don't care. I mean, they're savage, and they'll do this to anybody. They have done this. People look online, look for how many cases of people being taken, their medication or treatment being taken away, and if it's not for money, it's for politics, and it happens every minute of every day. It's just that people who go through their daily life where this doesn't affect them, because it's not them and it's not anybody that they know and love, they don't want to hear about it. It's not pleasant to know that you're living in a society where you literally can be discarded like a piece of trash. That's very unpleasant. And also knowing that, how do you even go about trying to make a change in that? It's a full-time job for everybody. So people don't know about it. You know who knows about it? People who are in my situation. People who suffer from a chronic illness, who need medication to mitigate the impact of their illness, and so that they have a way to go about living their life and minimizing the amount of suffering that they have to endure on a regular basis. We all know what's going on. We all have been dealing with this for a long time. For me, it's been a matter of years. For some people, it's decades. So I'm kind of, I think the reason for me even posting this is because, look, I think on Monday they're going to use this as an excuse to just cut me off or whatever, taper me. That's what I expect. Now, if this doctor that I see is going to put aside his business practice priorities and the lawyers are all sending around letters saying, oh, just cut people off, it's not worth the risk, if he's going to put aside that and actually do his job, look at a patient and see the condition that the person is in and treat it, that's the only thing that's necessary for this to have a positive outcome. I don't know. I don't know whether his name's Dr. Raj, and I don't know whether he'll do that or not. I don't know whether it's his priority to be a doctor or to run a medical practice. Excuse me, to run a medical practice and make money and minimize the amount of problems he could encounter, because that's really what it's all about. I mean, the DEA and the DOJ and everything, they're harassing doctors so that they can pretend they're doing something effective to stop real drug problems. So it's a question of whether that's going to be a priority to him, or whether he's going to actually say, you know what, this person's in pain, they take medication responsibly, taking a urine test whenever requested, never been a problem, not taking any recreational drugs, not taking the medication too much, not taking it. They also screen to see that you do have the medication system, because if you don't, maybe you're selling it, So, that I'm a 100% compliant patient. I do everything and I report to him my condition, and I report to him monthly how I'm doing, what my experience has been, and it's never been a problem. But the politics involved are creating the problem. They create a problem where they try to take away your treatment and let you suffer, and then as a response you get upset. And if you're upset, you must be addicted, because that's the only conclusion. It can't just be that you're suffering and that you are frustrated with a bureaucracy getting in the way of you just being given medical treatment. No, you're obviously an addict. It's an easy out. It's an easy way to discard trash from their perspective. And that's what in the political arena, that's what somebody suffering from a chronic illness is. When you're never going to get completely better. You're just going to deal with the problem, and you're going to just cost money. You're trash, and you need to go out. You need to be discarded, because you're of no benefit to them. That's the reality. And if you think that's not, you're ignorant. You're ignorant to it because it hasn't impacted you in your life. It's funny, I have an aunt and uncle who, my aunt occasionally would ask my mom, like, if I was able to at least work in some capacity or whatever, or why can't I just, do something that doesn't cause me pain or whatever. And my mom got furious about this, because she clearly didn't understand what it's like to be suffering in chronic pain and to be disabled. Well, my uncle, not long ago, got injured, and he started to experience chronic pain. And so my aunt, actually for the first time in this entire scenario, spoke to me directly and said, like, oh, I understand what you're going through, because I see it now, and I could never imagine that somebody, literally nothing takes away pain, and you're just always in pain. And like, I couldn't imagine it. So it demonstrates that most of the population of this world that don't suffer from something that doesn't impact their life directly, they don't know anything about it, and they don't know all the complicated political and social and economic factors that are involved in the public response, in what happens in the world to either deal with this, to take care of people who need the help or whatever, or in this case where it's just an agenda to get rid of, this medication, and anybody who needs it, well, too bad, you're going to suffer, and then they don't care. It's not part of their problem. So that's really where I stand. I pretty much think that this is going to end up with yet another doctor telling me, oh, they're going to taper you off, because they just don't want the baggage. And so, this is where I stand. Hopefully that won't happen, because that's an atrocity. But I've already been through one atrocity after another, because this keeps happening. And it's not, I'm not alone in this, but that doesn't make it any better. We all, in our group and online, we're always in touch with one another, and we're hearing this happening over and over again. Problem is, there's nobody doing anything to stop it. It's like a misery loves company kind of thing. That's not a solution. That's not compassion. That's not medicine. Medical treatment. That's just us having a place to wallow together while they one by one just discard us. This is what's going on. People don't get it until they get it, and when they do, they're furious because they don't know how. Why is everybody just letting this happen? But they're one of those people who's letting it happen because it wasn't affecting them. So that's what I think is going to happen. We'll see. I'll obviously follow up, and I'll report in what actually occurred. But I'm expecting the same thing as my previous doctor. I'm going to take you off the medication. Do you have any other treatment? No. Don't have anything to suggest to you. Don't have anybody to refer to you. Don't have any alternative treatment to suggest to you. Totally acknowledging you're going to be in more and more pain, and it's going to be intolerable pain. And I'm not offering something else as a doctor. I'm just telling you I'm going to take away the one treatment I am giving you. That's what happened. Dr. Daniel Klyamov on Union Turnpike in Queens, in New York. That doctor took me off of medication with absolutely, my wife was in the room. Literally, she was dumbfounded. Her jaw was dropped because this doctor is sitting there telling you, yes, there's a chronic illness. Yes, it's severe suffering. Yes, we've been providing the medication that makes it at least tolerable, and we've been treating it, and you've been 100% compliant with all of our requirements. Now we're going to take that away. Why? Because we are. It's like a logic loop. We're taking it away because we're taking it away. There was no justification. There was no reason. And that's what happened. So I fortunately was able to find this doctor pretty quickly after that. But I'm expecting that to happen again, because that's what's happening over and over. And somebody who doesn't know, somebody who's not involved in this and hears about it, is like, that can't be. No, doctors don't just stop treating you and take away. But they are doing it. That's exactly what's happening. Every minute of every day, it's happening. So that's what I expect, but hopefully I'll be wrong. But I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts out now, because this is a very traumatizing experience, and I don't, there's no way to explain it to you if you're not somebody in this kind of community of people suffering from chronic illness. But it's something that causes unbelievable suffering, and in many cases there's no treatment there's no remedy, but there's medication that mitigates the pain. And because there are criminals out there who sell these drugs illegally, and because there are people out there who use these drugs for pleasure, people like me are the ones that are persecuted, because we're the easiest targets to create the illusion that something's being done. There's some action. Nothing is stopping criminals. Nothing is stopping addicts. But people who need the medication are being cut off, because it is the easiest way to say, hey, we're doing something about the problem. So let's see what happens. I appreciate your attention and patience, etc. I fully expect that people who don't really have anything to do with chronic pain or anything like that I fully expect this is just, this is probably haven't even heard this much of the video yet and already moved on to the next cat video or something, but this is important to some people, so I'm kind of posting this for them and for myself, and you know, I'll report in and see what happens. Okay, thank you.